Krzyzewski, obviously, in the midst of another typical Duke type of year, 16-4, 5-2 in conference play in his 11th year with the Blue Devils. Georgia Tech will be featured with Matt Geiger, a young man that is slowly becoming what Bobby Crimmins would like in the middle at 7 feet. Any points that he can get from him certainly would be helpful. Bobby Crimmins now in his 10th season, 12-5. More importantly, 4-2 in the ACC with a team that is obviously beginning to mature. Our officials tonight, Steve Gordon, Dicky Paparo, and Frank Scagliotta. Kenny Anderson controls it for Georgia Tech.
Last time they played, Bobby Hurley stayed between him and the basket, didn't allow him to get any kind of penetration. Nice look.
Laettner brings it down for the Blue Devils.
Excellent pass by John Barry, the son of Rick Barry, who's one of the greatest passers I ever seen play the game.
Laettner a bit strong. Bobby Hurley comes up with it.
They're trying to get on Hurley already. Everywhere he goes, they try to rattle the little guy.
Grant Hill with the dump down to Laettner, and the two-man game to Hurley. Out of bounds to Georgia Tech.
Last game I had, Duke, where they lost to North Carolina State, Hurley hit 6 3-point shots.
Obviously coming over that weekend with the Carolina victory for Georgia Tech, this team is more confident than it was on January 9th. A turnover by Georgia Tech. Duke will get it back.
Tim, Kenny told me before the game, Bobby Crimmins right now is happy with the way they're getting a lot of balance, and Kenny said that I'm distributing the ball a little bit more because I have a lot more confidence now in my teammates. Earlier this year, he was scoring 40, 42, even had a 50-point game.
Well, when you lose players like Brian Oliver and Dennis Scott, it takes some time, and inside Grant Hill gets the first deuce of the game, 2-0 Blue Devils.
Excellent look by Bobby Hurley, a breakdown defensively, lack of communication by Georgia Tech.
Anderson, another great feed to Mackey. Yes, and a foul.
M&M, Malcolm Mackey. He's arrived this year. Should have made my all-Dale Carnegie team as one of the most improved players in America. There he is now. He's going to take the ball strong, right up to the rack. He told me, he said, I learned a lot from a guy by the name of Shaquille O'Neal. I watched Shaquille play, and Shaquille is going to the basket. He said, last year, I was fading away from the basket.
Well, he got an excellent opportunity to watch Shaquille when they teamed together on the South team at the U.S. Olympic Festival.
He actually didn't play in any games, Tim. He got hurt in the practice session.
But he got to see him up
close
and personal.
He's played against Shaquille. He's played against a lot of big people in the past, so he said, I'm not intimidated anymore.
It's one thing watching Shaq on television, quite another to be right there with him, alongside him.
He's the most intimidating big man in college basketball in many a year.
McCaffrey off the dribble. Better as a standstill jumper. That time he forced it up, no foul. Duke was looking for one.
Good defensive play by Hill. Had a shoulder injury in that first matchup, the blowout. Kenny looking to think. Right there, Bob Hurley didn't get a hand up.
Laettner clears for the Blue Devils.
Laettner has become a real solid rebounder.
Bounce pass into Laettner, and Matt Geiger will get called for the block.
The key player I really believe for Georgia Tech is this guy right here, the big guy, Matt Geiger. When he arrived from out of Auburn, they all felt he would be such a major impact player, but he has not played with aggressiveness. The last 3 games, he's showing signs, averaging 12 points a game and 10 rebounds a game.
Think about it, though. When you go from playing for Sonny Smith to that man, Bobby Crimmins, it's a bit of a culture shock for Geiger. I mean, we're talking 2 completely different approaches to the game, and he's had to make an adjustment, as well as Crimmins having to adjust to what Geiger can bring to the team.
I think the biggest adjustment is the fact that you don't play in competition for a year.
Laettner again over Geiger. Grant Hill with the follow.
Hill did not play in that first matchup. The blowout and the broken nose, caught an elbow from his teammate Antonio Lang in practice.
Not wearing the mask for the first time. He'd been wearing that nose protector in past games.
Duke's coming off that blowout over Clemson. Beat him easily down in Clemson.
Hill.
Geiger's a good little shooter. Double up, bring it back out. Barry's scoring 16 a game. Nice little 2-man play.
Geiger, that's been one of the problems with him. Some say he puts it on the floor a bit too much. inside in post areas.
Well, he hesitated. Should have caught that basketball and immediately gone right up to the basket. Come out of Clearwater, Florida. Here's Hurley, a little general out there, a little leader.
3 minutes deep here at Alexander Memorial Coliseum, game 2 of ACC Big East Wednesday. Hurley for 3.
Hurley thinking a little bit more, taking that shot from the perimeter.
Grant Hill active, though, on the offensive glass.
Well, he's velvet. He's silky smooth. He would be a great player for Mike Krzyzewski. Right now, he's a good player. He's a little bit passive. He has to learn to be a little bit more aggressive as well, insert himself.
McCaffrey over Anderson.
That's his forte. Shoot the 3, catch the ball, square the body, and look at the basket. Came out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, as a big-time scorer.
Duke by 4.
See, a tendency to stand around a little bit when Kenny has the rock in his hands and he starts putting it to the deck. Everybody else becomes the Kodak man. They say, let's take his picture.
Anderson solos. Yes, and a foul.
He set him up perfectly, utilizing the screen. Great look, that superb quickness that he had at Archbishop Malloy, where he's heralded as one of the best ever in New York City. Defense a little bit slow, rotating over. See, right now he's going to use that screen. And there he is. That's all he needed, that little step. He set Hurley up with the big screen.
We should make mention, you saw at halftime, the story on Kenny Anderson relative to his exit to the NBA that appears to be forthcoming. Because of that public attention towards Anderson leaving, Bobby Crimmins has already come up with a fine commitment in Travis Best.
Travis Best's team is undefeated down at Springfield, Mass, averaging about 27 a game. One of the premier point guards in the nation. Kenny is gone. I said it 3 weeks ago, and I feel that Billy Owens is gone. I think both guys will be part of the NBA draft.
That time a foul against Barry. Got caught holding that time. Yeah, you're right. You did say it about 3 weeks ago. And another thing to consider with Kenny Anderson and Travis Best is also a left-hander. They're getting used to left-handed point guards here in Atlanta. So far, it's Duke by only 1 early on.
Magic Moments, presented by Dodge. At the Naval Academy, David Robinson was a one-man destroyer. In his junior campaign by himself, this midshipman blocked more field goal attempts than any team in the country, except eventual champion Louisville. Robinson graduated with 351 blocked shots, an average of over 5 per game, the highest in NCAA history. One of the most dominating centers in college basketball, David Robinson accounted for many a magic moment.
Interesting notes on tonight's game, and you notice Georgia Tech 13 of their last 14 at home. They're no longer playing conference games at the Omni as they once did. That certainly helps them being here in the Thriller Dome. Duke leads this series, but in the Crimmins era, Dick, unlike the intrastate rivalries along Tobacco Road, this has become quite a nice rivalry with seemingly great matchups year in and year out. You see already Georgia Tech 2 for 4, only launching 4 in the ball game thus far. Duke only 30%, but they've been active on the offensive glass.
Well, what makes it so special also is the fact that both programs are really classy in terms of academics as well.
Bobby Hurley running the show.
Zone defense right now. Georgia Tech rotates out of the man-to-man, goes to a zone.
McCaffrey made the adjustment in midair not to take the shot. Laettner with the run and jump hook. Antonio Lang in the game, but that one was last touched by Brian Hill.
Laettner's got those long arms. Bobby Crimmins, one of the Frank Lloyd Wrights of basketball. What an architect. What a builder of a program. I mean, he came here, they said it was totally impossible to make it happen.
Grant Hill.
He's thinking a little offense right now. Grant looking at the basket. One of America's premier diaper dandies. Duke playing their solid man-to-man, trying to deny on the wings, give some help, close the driving angle.
Blue Devils get it back.
Bobby told me before the game, he said, you know, I didn't believe we could beat North Carolina. We were getting blown out by 16, and all I kept saying is, I want it to be respectable. Let's not get blown out. Then we made the comeback. He said, I felt, wow, we can win. And then the kids started to believe we can win. He said, what a sweet trip back home it was after Mackey hit that three-point shot.
Not since '85, that great '85 team, had he beaten North Carolina in North Carolina. And, of course, that was at Carmichael Auditorium.
Changed defenses now, multiple defenses, going into man-to-man.
Ivano Newbill is coming to the game now for Georgia Tech, replacing Geiger. Matt is out of the game, and there's a quick foul against Newbill.
Bobby Cremins doesn't play a lot of people. That's been a trademark throughout his career. Newbill's a guy that's physical. He's got to really learn to be a little better on the offensive end.
Some substitutions now for Duke. Crawford Palmer coming into the basketball game for the first time.
I was teasing the Duke assistant, Peter Gaudet, who does a great job for Mike Krzyzewski, former head coach at West Point. I said, next year I may have you preseason #1. All these guys back, plus Cherokee Parks. He said, no way. Laettner, sweet and smooth.
11-6, the Blue Devils by 5. Thomas Hill is also coming to the game for the Blue Devils, number 12.
Great job of hedging defensively by Palmer.
And Barry loads up from 3.
Rick Barry says, that's my boy, John. He can shoot the rock.
Keep it in the family. Rick's kids, he could have his own basketball team, 3-on-3. Scooter, who won the national title in '88 with Kansas. And the youngest of the family, Brent, is now a freshman at Oregon State.
Look at that high screen.
Hurley.
Poor job defensively by Georgia Tech. No one stepped out to close off his driving angle after the big screen.
Anderson to Newbill. Kept alive by Mackey. Malcolm Mackey. Yes!
I'll tell you, that was strong. And then he did a little dance. And Cremins says, I like it. He's getting better and better. He did a little Shaquille O'Neal dance after he scored. Watch the strength right here. Keeps the ball alive. The big fella is active. He takes it up, averaging double figures and scoring. Now he converts it. He gets the roll. And now he does a little disco. He's a little MC Hammer time. Mike Krzyzewski, poised, confident, disciplinarian.
His teams are always there at the end. Very rarely do you see Duke in the midst of a blowout, which obviously points back to the fact that UNLV played a tremendous game in that Final Four appearance, because the Blue Devils very rarely are played out of a game as quickly as they were in the Final Four a year ago.
I was trying to take a nap this afternoon, and all of a sudden my phone rings, and who's the voice? Jerry Tarkanian from UNLV. And start talking about the nation and what's happening. Great rebound. And he has great admiration for the style of play of Duke.
Anderson. Well, they think about double teaming him from time to time. Then they have to peel back.
He's got great control of the basketball. Gonna come off the screen, Anderson.
Newbill right past Palmer. Barry is free. Finds Mackey again, and he's hacked. Christian Laettner will pick up this one.
That's exactly why he has improved as a player. Did you notice his first direct move? It was right to the basket as opposed to fading away. And he's going to the free throw line a lot more often this year than he did last year. Watch right now when he catches the rock. He's going to take it directly to the basket.
Palmer got the foul rather than Laettner on the reach in.
It's so frustrating to see big people when they begin to fade away as opposed to attack the glass.
Mackey now has 6. Mackey was, when you stop and think about it, Dick, a role player for Bobby Cremins' club a year ago. It was just get the rebound and get it back outside to lethal weapon 3. Now he's more of an offensive factor.
He was the 5th option last year with Oliver and Scott and Kenny Anderson. Now he's become the prime option along the baseline.
We're tied at a baker's dozen, and the crowd coming to its feet here at the Thriller Dome.
Change again defensively, rotate out of the man, back into his zone.
Laettner flashing high, and he's got someone leaning on him at all times. Ivano Newbill working him over now.
They really could slide Palmer to the high post and then dump it down to Laettner.
Laettner's got it, and he works the glass. Palmer follows.
Concentrating on Laettner, blocking him out. Palmer comes off from the weak side and gets the good offensive lane for the rebound. Now watch Palmer, he'll step out on that screen.
15-13, Duke by a deuce.
Bobby Hurley trying to deny the ball to Anderson. Now he's got him one-on-one.
And he'll take it.
That was a tough 2. If he's going to score like that, you can't stop him. But that was good defense by Hurley. He stayed right up in front of him.
Not many teams will check Kenny Anderson one-on-one quite like Duke with a Bobby Hurley. Good pass inside to Davis. Palmer has it taken away by Anderson, and there's John Barry.
Well, Barry, he can jump better than his papa. I'll tell you, Rick, you couldn't get up like that, Rick Barry.
Here comes the crowd.
Hey, they say we're just like the Cameron Crazies. We go bananas, too.
First lead of the game for Georgia Tech.
R&R time, rock and roll time here. There they go.
Foul against Hill.
Bobby Cremins upset because he knows they had the momentum. They had the transition layup. This place would have exploded. What a job. You can't really say enough about the job Cremins has done in taking this program over. When you look up the numbers of his predecessor, and a lot of people said it never can get done because of the academic restrictions.
Yeah. Matt Geiger coming back into the game. Brian Hill to sit down.
He drives the lane. There's the deflection. I didn't see a foul. But then again, I have one eye, and it's tough for me to see anything.
Thomas Hill, you know, so much is said about Grant Hill's father, the former NFL star Calvin Hill. Thomas Hill's dad, Tommy, in the '72 Olympics in Munich, came away with the bronze medal in the 110-meter high hurdle.
He's now working down at Oklahoma as an assistant athletic director.
An academic advisor there, handling many of the athletes on the academic side. It is 17-17 here in Atlanta. Just another typical triple hitter on Thursday night. ESPN, Ohio State against Michigan State, North Carolina to meet Clemson, and then at midnight Eastern after SportsCenter, Wyoming against the Rainbows of Hawaii.
Hey, Tim, you talk about a pride factor. Michigan State really has to have some pride as we see a little one-on-one move. Watching Kenny Anderson now, a little one-on-one against Hurley. Hurley stays right up on him. He makes him shoot the jumper over the top. Excellent shot by Anderson, but excellent defense by Hurley. Talking about Michigan State, one of the major disappointments in America, coming off a blowout by 30 against Indiana. They must beat Ohio State to get back in the race.
John Barry shot a bit too strong, and you'll recall it was Georgia Tech that beat Michigan State in the round of 16 a year ago on that controversial Anderson three-pointer that sent the game into overtime, as you see Hill come back and connect for Duke.
He has become a big-time producer, offensively as well as defensively. But I got to go to Geiger. Geiger right now mismatched with Kubek size-wise.
Yeah, Greg Kubek, number 22 for Duke, down inside. Anderson. Kubek comes down with it.
He's had some big moments lately for Duke coming off the bench. Had a tremendous performance against Carolina, as this guy did as well.
And that's a foul against Mackey, and it should be a three-shotter because he was beyond the three-point line.
Thomas Hill, to me, is one of the premier six-men in basketball. When we talk about my old Dennis Eckersley's great six-men, guys that give you instant relief, the best in the nation is Ron Urey at Arkansas, but this guy certainly is one of them. I was teasing Tarkadian about this game with Arkansas. I said, hey, we should be the underdog. I said, you can't be an underdog against an NBA team with what you have.
Hill at the line, he'll shoot three. Well, he's coming off a tremendous freshman year and has just helped himself so much offensively this season that he's just becoming another one of those Robert Brickey type of players on the defensive side, and yet he brings much more offensively to the table for Mike Krzyzewski's team, as you see Newbill come out of the game for Georgia Tech.
Many people didn't believe that he was going to be a major factor when he was recruited. Everybody sung the praises of McCaffrey and Hurley, and he has steadily become such a solid player. He says, I like this 3 for 3. I used to hate this in the NBA when they had the 3 for 2. You see NBA guys there, some of them going 0 for 3. I can't believe it. Can't make free throws. I was teasing my buddy tonight, Larry Donald, the Basketball Times publisher and editor. He said, you can't shoot. He saw me shoot, though. He says, you know what? You're not bad.
Hill has 8 in the game, and the lead is 6 for the Blue Devils. Hill's pass too strong for Barry.
Not a good pass. Really thrown, as you said, a little bit too hard. Cremins says that's the kind of pass I threw when I played for Frank McGuire at South Carolina.
How intense that man is. He is special, though. And his attitude about the game has really changed in the last year. So much has happened personally with Bobby Cremins, losing his father at the beginning of last season and then finally making it to the Final Four.
Naismith Coach of the Year last year.
Davis was looking inside, could find no one. Kubek has slumped from three-point range this year, though he has contributed off the bench recently, as Dick mentioned. Came into Duke as a long-range bomber. Hurley rejected by Geiger.
Geiger says, get it out of here. Give the bounce pass.
Anderson.
Kenny should have had that score. He vented out a little bit too wide rather than taking the 45-degree angle to the basket.
That's an empty trip, Dick, on a 3-on-1 break.
Good pass also. Kenny just flared out a little bit too wide. Didn't get the good angle.
Almost halfway done with the first half here at Alexander Memorial Coliseum. Thomas Hill.
Hill really now knows he's an offensive threat, and he's not afraid to shoot the ball.
He already has his average. He has 10 in the game.
Playing with so much more confidence.
Crawford Palmer popping outside, picks up the foul against Kenny Anderson.
That's the term we like to utilize called hedging, where you step out and you close off the driving maneuver of the offensive player. Palmer does that well. In that situation there, he laid a body, he did foul, but he sent a message to Anderson. You're not getting around the screen that easily.
Laettner, Grant Hill, and Billy McCaffrey have come back into the game, and you see the Devils now outscoring Tech 10-0 in the last 3:05.
Anderson just slapped McCaffrey's hand away. He said, get it out of here. Get it away from him.
Now they'll try to run Kenny Anderson off the point as the two guard. Geiger right over Kubek. The matchup you mentioned, that was a mismatch.
Well, too much size inside, and he's got good offensive mobility, Geiger. He could be a heck of a player, Tim.
Yeah, well, he had some great moments at Auburn. I mean, he handled Shinsis when Shinsis was playing well at Florida, and of course they were rivals in high school. Grant Hill gets the roll.
Grant Hill with good post position inside, sealed the defensive player off well with his body. Look at Geiger, throw it up to him.
That's a push. He got caught with the push. Kubek had established position that time.
Well, they were a little hesitant in throwing the ball. If they threw it a little bit earlier, he would have gotten away with it. See, they should have flipped it up sooner. Now throw it up. Now he finally does push off. A little slow, recognizing he had the guy fronting him. He had the great size, no weak side help.
He had that left wing out there, and Dicky Paparo finally caught him. 27-19. McCaffrey left free. Now he'll drive the baseline.
Duke laying those screens. One of the dangerous guys on the floor is the screener when he steps back from laying the initial screen.
With Georgia Tech struggling offensively, you wonder now how Anderson might react. Could he begin to solo a bit too much, as has been the problem in many of Georgia Tech's losses? Barry gets a steal.
Give it up to Kenny. Give it up.
He'll give it to Geiger. Wipe it off. It's a charge. And Kubek, how many times have we seen him in that position?
Geiger really showed something there. He showed his agility for a 7-footer, his mobility. He gets called for the charge. But how many times do you see a big fella run the court? Here he is right now, the trail man. I thought Barry should have given a bounce pass up to Anderson. And there it is. There's no doubt. Excellent call. Frank Scagliata with the call. Now watch Kubek. He's squared. Feet are planted. Got the chest right there. Good call. But an excellent move by Geiger running the court. Third foul.
And that will play a major role the rest of the way.
Should have given the ball up, though, a little bit earlier to Kenny Anderson. Crowd doesn't like it. We got a Scagliata on the game. We got a Paparo on the game. And a Gordino. I'm changing his name from Gordon to Gordino. Oh, look, Dick, he'll take right over.
Now, there's been some debris thrown on the floor, and he wants all the players off of the court because of that very fact. The onus is now on Crimmins to take control of the crowd, and Bobby's upset, thinking Paparo's upstaging the situation a bit.
You can't get a hand off him. He doesn't mean anything with a hand on him. He's got to be careful of a technical. Dick's not quick with the trigger, though. He will listen to a coach. Bobby's now going to grab the microphone.
The onus is on Crimmins and Georgia Tech's bench, though, to control the crowd.
We almost had the same scenario Monday in an Illinois-Iowa game when the crowd started throwing some stuff on the floor. He did get a technical.
Yes, he did.
Well, one, you got to get a technical to leave in the coach's box.
Paparo has been an official that's always been a take-charge official, one of the better officials you'll find in the ACC. I think that Crimmins was a bit upset that Papero was waving the players off as quickly as he did, because I think Bobby was ready to take the microphone, but he didn't get that chance.
Any more throwing, we're going to walk off the court. The game will be forfeit. I don't want to see any more stuff on the court. Thank you.
See, he wanted to make that statement all along, and I think that's why he was so upset.
I don't think you'll see anything thrown anymore. I really don't, because the threat of Bobby's, I'll tell you one thing, he's not joking when he said, I will take him out of here.
Yeah. 29-19. It's the largest lead of the game now for Duke. And it will go back over to Georgia Tech. You can't fault Papero for trying to protect the players. You certainly can understand Crimmins' frustration.
Dick Papero is a take charge official. Listen to this crowd, though.
Georgia Tech gets a hoop, especially by this guy. The crowd will erupt. New Bill is stripped by Laettner. Nice work by those hands that were waving by Christian Laettner. There's a steal by New Bill.
Get it out to Anderson. Nice pass inside.
Mackey is fouled by Laettner.
Excellent look by Anderson with the drop bounce pass to Mackey down in the box. He misses his friends, though. Scott and Oliver. Lethal weapons 3. But watch Anderson right now. He's got Laettner playing him. He knows he's got great quickness on Laettner. Dumps it inside. Mackey takes it up. Laettner rotates back. Puts him across the back.
Mackey out of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
He's got impressive numbers, averaging 17 points a game, 10 rebounds a game.
Antonio Lang coming back in. Greg Kubek sitting down. You like to see a kid like Kubek play well in his senior year, a young man that many thought would really develop offensively. Just hasn't happened for him, but now he's giving a major contribution to this Blue Devil team.
He's a good role player. You know, listening to this crowd explode, that's the one beauty of the ACC. I love their environments, Timmy. They're so exciting when they play on the college campuses throughout the ACC.
It's an 8-point lead for Duke. The crowd is waiting for more offense. Big SEC Tuesday is always special. More special next week because of the rivalry between Kentucky and LSU. That's the second half of that doubleheader, Oklahoma and Kansas State, to get us started next week. And when you think of Georgia Tech and Duke and the great rivalry that it is within the ACC, certainly in the SEC, Dick, LSU and Kentucky is always special.
That'll be an interesting matchup. Dale Brown and Ricky Pitino. As we look here, turnovers 7 for Georgia Tech. Only a deuce. Look at the points. Duke's got 9 points off the turnovers.
There's a steal by Anderson.
Good anticipation, excellent alertness. He's given the ball up a lot sooner.
Barry way too strong, and the outlet is for McCaffrey. Foul by Hill.
Hill gets called for the foul, but a breakdown by Kenny defensively. Anderson did not rotate back after making the pass to the wing. He didn't get back defensively in transition. McCaffrey's ahead of the pack, a little hesitant taking it up to the goal. Goes a little quicker. He's got himself a layup. See, he hesitates right there. And the defense gets back. He's an excellent free throw shooter, though. Put him in the book, give the ball out of bounds. He's like automatic.
Billy, who had the 29 in that first meeting at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Oh!
Yeah, well,
Billy.
You know, you've been doing this ever since ESPN was born, and you haven't learned yet.
Billy. I'll tell you, when he had the ankle injury, they really missed his scoring.
Ryan DeMalik is coming to the game. There he is, number 3 for Georgia Tech. A senior that's getting a little more playing time as this season develops for Bobby Crimmins.
Well, Malik's had some special moments. Hit a big 3 against Georgia. That was big in that triple OT win over Huey Durham's team, and then hit a big 3 against Wake Forest.
Now here comes the trap against Anderson.
He loves the trap. They'll give you numbers.
That's Barry. On the baseline, he follows. Still won't drop.
He's getting wide open shots.
Well, he took 25 shots against North Carolina, Dick. He hit 9 of them, but I think Crimmins wants him to keep shooting. And there's a turnover by Antonio Lang, and it will go back to the Ramblin' Red.
He's going to get an open shot because of the presence of Kenny Anderson, who's constantly drawing so many people to him. Anderson throws the ball inside. There's the deflection. Now we're going to see a little walk-in violation. Definitely lifted his pivot foot.
Anderson with the pull-up jam.
See, good shot selection. He's not forcing tonight like he did in game 1 against Duke in that blowout.
Malik will check Hurley now as...
Look at the intensity on Damalik. He says, come on, Hurley. I wasn't even heavily recruited when I came out of Flint Hill Prep. If it wasn't for my buddy Dennis Scott, I wouldn't have gotten a scholarship.
Anderson now trying to keep Grant Hill from pounding the glass. McCaffrey takes advantage. That's for 2 inside the three-point arc.
No one recognizes that McCaffrey's wide open. Poor job defensively in communicating by Georgia Tech. Good job by Hurley to beat him to the spot right there.
Oh, what a pass from Newbill to Barry, and the foul, the end result.
John Barry working himself free along that baseline. Excellent look by Newbill. He drilled that through the defense. Watch him drill this through the defense. I mean, he drives it right through. Barry can't believe it. And there's the head fake. Uh-oh, uh-oh. You left something on the floor, Grant. You left something on the floor.
Crawford Palmer coming back into the game.
Physical player, Palmer gives him that big physical body on the inside.
Laettner, who picked up his second foul, comes out of the game with 6:06 remaining. Krzyzewski does not want Christian to pick up a meaningless third in the last 6 minutes, with the Blue Devils playing well, leading this game by 8 at the moment.
Anytime you can get a win on the road in the ACC, you are really playing well. So tough.
In the 90s, you get a win on the road anywhere in any league, and you come away thinking you got a blowout victory.
Exactly.
32-25. You see the time remaining until we join Chris Fowler, who'll have scores and highlights, including a look at that Georgetown-St. John's matchup you saw earlier on ESPN.
They try to disguise the little matchup they were playing. Try to make it look like a man.
Boy, Hurley just finally decided to take
push
the shot.
By Palmer.
Yep.
Push by Palmer. You can't get away with that, Crawford.
Right against Mackey's back, and Crawford got caught.
Next year, Duke adds that big size inside. Everybody you talk to says that Cherokee Parks is going to be such a solid contributor. Palmer's going to come from the weak side. Watch him right there. There's the little push. He tries to get away. Hey, this is not the NBA, Crawford. You get away with that in the NBA.
Kubek has come back into the game, and Palmer will sit down. John Barry in the game with Damalik, along with Anderson. Essentially a 3-guard offense for Georgia Tech with Mackey and Newbill in the game. And you see Malcolm's numbers at the stripe.
He's going to get a lot of help next year up front, Mackey, from a guy by the name of James Forrest from out of Atlanta.
Kubek hit the deck. That's an automatic travel. So the Yellow Jackets get it back.
Mike's always so poised on that sideline. You know, he has that intensity, but he really has a lot of poise about his coaching.
Perhaps the greatest thing about Krzyzewski and many other coaches that have tutored under some of the legends of the game didn't try to be Bob Knight. He took what he learned from Bob Knight and employed what he knew and his feeling about the game and incorporated what he learned from Knight. And the mix has been 4 Final Fours in the last 5 years.
Also one of the best records in the last 5 years, second to only UNLV. They've won 162 games to UNLV's 177.
Bobby Hurley picked up the foul, trying to check Kenny that time.
Kenny says, can you please say hello to my mom? I want you to say hello to my mom. I said, I can't say hello to your mom. There he is, one-on-one. A little change of direction, goes around the back. Too much quickness right there for Bobby, so it goes right by him. Now, I'm not allowed to say hello to his mom, Joan. Am I, Joan Anderson? Am I allowed to say hello to Joan?
Joan, I think you just got a hello.
Oh, okay. When you're Kenny Anderson, we could say hello.
That's right. And a year or two from now, Vitale wants a percentage of the cut.
No, not really. I just want him to see him be a happy guy and enjoy his career.
Oh, will he be a wealthy man, though? But, you know, in the NBA, you can always figure 4 or 5 big guys will go before any guard in the draft.
I'd rather see him stay in college, but that's a decision he certainly has to make for the best interest of his family.
32-27, a 5-point lead for the Blue Devils. Georgia Tech hanging in there, though shooting poorly. McCaffrey comes back with a deuce. Again, just inside 3-point range.
That's that little weave they run, a little 2-man game, a little weave. If you step out and jump switch on that, you take that play away.
Oh, what a scene for Anderson.
Nice.
Dishes out to Barry for 3. Just off the back iron.
He says, come on, John, put it down. Give me an assist.
Anderson gets caught. Boy, he's all over Antonio Lang. He wanted to get that foul.
Well, he had to get that foul. He knows it was a mismatch, and that Lang would have taken that right to the goal and jammed it. You know what Bobby Crimmon's greatest asset is? You were talking about what a special guy is. His greatest asset is that he's people-oriented. He has great people skills, and he really knows how to relate to people, all kinds of people, whether they're rich, whether they're poor, whether they're black, whether they're white. He does a great job relating to people.
One of the things that I've noticed, Dick, just in the years that I've known him, as you see Hill coming into the game, is that in past years when you talk to Bobby about his team, even that great 85 and 86 team that he had, he always was a doomsayer, and it always appeared that he was waiting for some dark shadow to come over his club during the course of a year. Now I think he is a lot more optimistic about his team and about life in general. That's one of the noticeable changes in Bobby Crimmins. Hill doesn't get the roll.
Swing the ball.
Anderson for three. Well, he tried to bank it in.
No, he didn't try to bank that in.
Yeah, well, no, he didn't mean to, but that's almost what happened. I've seen a lot of those fall this year.
That was Brick City, USA. That reminded me of your jumper watching you shoot one. A little passive on a defensive end. Trying to pack it in. Give it a moment, that perimeter shot.
Lob inside to Antonio Lang. He's in trouble, and Barry comes away with it.
See, they packed it in down inside.
Nice move by Barry. That ball will go back to Georgia Tech. He had to knock the ball off Thomas Hill. Hill's woofing at him a little bit, but that was a good play by Barry.
Well, he knew if he stood up, it's an automatic walk-in violation. Crimmins is such a fighter, such a scrapper from out of New York City.
The Bronx
went down to South Carolina. It's part of that New York connection. They're going to battle inside. Barry pops the ball loose. Now he's laying on a deck. Here he is now. He knows he can't get up. Oh, there should have been a foul right there. Should have been a foul.
Yeah, Hill got him with an elbow. That bounce pass way too tight by Hill. Newbill on the floor with McCaffrey. Tie ball and the arrow to Georgia Tech. Or check that to Duke.
Bobby Ross says, I like this. My Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck, #1 in the nation.
Well, look at this man from St. Anthony's and Archbishop Malloy. They've been down there before, and they'll have a few more matchups before their careers are done.
Score update now. Mississippi State has led the whole way in Baton Rouge, but the Tigers have stormed back. Just a 4-point ball game. They trailed by as many as 18. We'll have highlights at halftime. Back now to Tim and Dick in Atlanta.
All right, Chris, we look forward to your halftime show. Duke leading Georgia Tech by 7, 3:40 remaining. We commented on it going to break. These two guys, this is just great competition between two outstanding players.
Well, they really love competing. Look at the two of them talking to each other. Look at Kenny saying, I'm going to invite you over to dinner, Bobby. I really like you. Come on, let's go to dinner.
Began with a little woofing between the two, and then they shook hands before they went to the break. You see the matchup between the two. Anderson making up for that 25-point performance in a 41-point loss 3 weeks ago. Really can't judge Bobby Hurley, though, on his scoring. I mean, his job is to defend Kenny Anderson.
It was one of the weakest 25 points that Kenny will ever score in his life, and he knows it, and he admitted it.
Yep.
He was very disappointed and very humiliated by the performance of not only himself, but his team.
Anderson draws the foul. Bobby Hurley with those hands raised. Brian Mahoney, the assistant at St. John's, had the great line on Hurley. He said he looks like an older boy, but he will take care of you defensively. He is tough.
Well, he's a tough competitor. He's going to make my all crybaby team, though. I told him that already. I say that in a positive way. You just like to whine and cry. A la Bill Lampier. A.C. Earl's going to make my team from out of Iowa. I'm looking for 3 other guys for my all crybaby team. So if you find them, let me know, Brando. I'll tell you one thing, Kenny Anderson in the NBA is going to be an outstanding point guard. He told me tonight the player he really favors the most, who he really likes in the NBA, you'll never guess. Kevin Johnson from out of Phoenix. Said, I love his style. And behind him, Isaiah Thomas.
It's a strong statement for Kevin Johnson. But boy, did he ever develop as an NBA player. As good as he was in California, not a lot of people knew about him until he made it to the Suns. 34-29, 2:40 remaining until halftime.
They've really done a good job keeping the ball away from Laettner. Got to dump it inside to him. He was wide open. They missed Laettner. He's sitting down in that box inside. Get it into him.
Over Mackey, right on cue from Coach Vitale.
He was sitting in good post position. He's got the great rotation, the excellent touch when he catches the ball inside.
36-29.
Laettner's also done a great job keeping the ball away from Mackey.
And Hill gets the job done defensively, covering Brian Hill. Bobby knows that one got away. A lot of empty trips in this game for Georgia Tech, Dick. It's amazing, though, that they're only down 7 when you consider their poor shooting tonight. Certainly John Barry's not doing the job, and Malcolm Mackey not getting free for any baskets underneath.
And a reason for that has really been the excellent half-court defense by Duke.
But again, they're only down 7 at home with under 2 minutes to play until the intermission.
Well, remember, they're down 16 on the road with North Carolina and come back and win.
Kubek sets a pick for McCaffrey, and he drives. Barry steals it.
See, here's where Anderson excels. He's got to get the ball.
Hill.
Barry says, no, Kenny, you got enough points. I'm going to my guy, Hill.
Well, remember, everyone expected Anderson to get that last hoop in the Carolina game. He was doubled, and then Hill was able to put it home.
Mackey.
Yeah, Mackey, that's right.
Three-point play.
But Hill was running that break and got it to Mackey. Anderson tries for the steal. Hurley for 3.
Wide open. He can't make one tonight.
Davis, that's a push against Kenny Anderson. Brian Davis, the junior from Capitol Heights, Maryland, picks up the foul, and Georgia Tech will have it at the other end.
Kenny Anderson anticipates well defensively, always looking for that steal. Here comes Barry's look. He's got Kenny on his left, and then he throws that little bowling pass right out to Hill. Good entry, good pass. I would have went to the sure guy. I'll tell you one thing. Somebody tried to tell me tonight, they said his dad never passed. I said, are you crazy? His dad was one of the greatest passers of all time.
Anderson is shooting 2 because Duke has committed the 10-foul limit, the new rule instituted this year. Georgia Tech, should they commit one more foul, will have Duke at the line for 2 as well.
A lot of big-time scribes out here tonight looking across. See Furman Disher, one of the outstanding writers. Mark Bradley, a creative writer. Larry Donnell. I picked my all-scribe team. Charlie Pierce will make it. What an article he did on Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal. What an in-depth story in the National.
Anderson trying to come away with a steal. Gets the tie ball. The arrow to the Engineers.
They were down 7 and they've made their run. It is down to 3, and right now they can get it to 1 or tie.
And they've done it without an offensive production down low and without John Barry hitting from outside.
They're trying to get more balance offensively than rely just on Kenny.
Mackey way too strong. That pretty much personifies the problem Mackey's been having inside. Kubek is loose for 3. Well, does he have a sweet shot? You have to wonder how the young man could be shooting 36% from three-point range.
I think it's confidence. I really do. I think you come in, you don't play a whole lot of minutes, and you have a tendency to really rush your shot, and you don't really concentrate like a guy that's playing 30 minutes a night.
The lead is 6 for Duke. Shot clock is off. That's the game clock you see in the lower right-hand portion of your screen, and Anderson will solo.
He utilized that screen so well. He sees Kubek popping out. He reverses dribble and shoots the little jumper.
Hill loses it with 1 tick remaining.
Bobby Grimmon's ready to sprint out of the locker. Look at him. He's about to run out of here.
Now he'll diagram the play off the inbound span.
Bobby's great asset, too, is motivating. He's an excellent motivator.
Barry.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't think that's going. A left-hand hook from three-quarter court.
I can't believe that's what Bobby asked for, a left-handed hook.
From three-quarter court.
We're at halftime. Chris Fowler is coming right up. Georgia Tech and Duke. It's a 4-point lead for the Blue Devils.
Presentation of NCAA basketball, Duke versus Georgia Tech, is brought to you by Federal Express, absolutely positively the best in the business. It's a very different kind of a game from the first time Duke and Georgia Tech met when the Blue Devils blew out the Jackets. But Georgia Tech, although they haven't played very well at all in the first half, still within 4 points at 39-35. Earlier tonight on ESPN, a big one in the Big East. St. John's and Georgetown. The Redmen have had a lot of success in the Cap Center. They come in sole possession of first place in the Big East, and Louis going for his 500th career win. Dikembe Mutombo missing the dunk, but look at Charles Harrelson, the freshman, playing excellent basketball the past couple of weeks. Then, at the end of the half, watch the clock in lower right. Doesn't move. That's a time code clock at the top of the screen. You see that the shot is off. Would have counted anyway. Carnesecca doesn't care about the time code at the top of the screen. He's going crazy. But John Clockerty, the referee, reviews it at halftime, counts the bucket. Hoyas led by 9. Mutombo in the second half just took over with the dunk. Georgetown doesn't get a field goal in the last 9 minutes, but they go 9 of 9 from the line. They hold on for the 59-53 victory. Harrison, 18 points, so the Big East Rookie of the Week last year picks up where he left off. Mutombo, 17 points and 12 rebounds. Hoyas at 5-3, St. John's at 6-3 in the conference. Pittsburgh and Villanova meeting in another Big East Conference game. The Panthers coming off that loss to Georgetown in a very punishing game. They lost at home. They try to bounce back in the Spectrum against rivals. Evans and Massimino, not the best of friends, so this is always an intense game. And an ugly start to the ball game. Look at bodies flying everywhere. Finally, Lance Miller for Nova will get the ball underneath and finish the sloppy play. For Pittsburgh, Brian Shorter, the big guy underneath, turns around in the lane, gets bumped, gets the bucket, gets the foul. But Greg Woodard, the story for Villanova, three-pointer from the left, three-pointer from the right. He was perfect from the field in the first half, and Villanova now with 8 minutes to go, leading Pittsburgh 66-59. Nova at 3-4. Pittsburgh at 4-3 coming into the ballgame as we check the standings. The loss by St. John's drops them into a tie with Syracuse for first place. The Hoyas just a half game back, and 7 teams are within 2 games of first place. 10-6 might win the conference this year. Connecticut and Boston College, the 2 teams that are really out of the scramble at this point. UConn has lost 6 straight games in the conference. At 3-6, they desperately need a couple of wins to get back in this if they would like to get an NCAA tournament berth. Don't go away. More coming back after this break. We'll see how Arkansas did in their battle with UAB. Also, Indiana playing Wisconsin, Mississippi State playing LSU. Our game, the Jackets down by 4. Welcome back. Back to the scoreboard now. Arkansas had come in with a 17-game winning streak, playing at home against UAB, a team that you wouldn't figure would give the Hogs much trouble, except that Andy Kennedy, a streak shooter, can keep his team in the ballgame. He did it in the first half here. But watch the Hogs off the turnover. Arlen Bowers to Todd Day behind the back to bigger Roosevelt Wallace for the lay-in. But there's Kennedy, his specialty, the three-pointer. There's one, and watch this one. Outside of the NBA arc, Nolan saw his team involved in a 4-point ball game at halftime, but they just turned it up a notch. A 25-4 run as Todd Day converts the alley-oop. 25-4 run at the start of the second half. It is all over. The Hogs win their 18th straight, 104-72, and Todd Day, the hero in this one, 31 points. It ties a season high. He also had 7 rebounds and 4 assists. Also in the Southwest Conference, SMU taking on Texas, and the Longhorns have a 14-point lead now with 8 minutes to go in that ball game. TCU is hosting Texas Tech, 61-55 in favor of the Horned Frogs. 5.5 minutes to play in that ball game. Baylor and Rice, this has been a good ball game throughout, but Rice has pulled ahead. This game was tied until recently. Rice goes on a run. They have a 10-point lead now with 5 minutes to play. Switching now to the Big Ten. Indiana ranked number 4 against a Wisconsin team that you'd figure they'd have a pretty easy time with, taking on in Bloomington. Steve Yoder's Badgers team hopelessly overmatched in this ball game against Indiana. Indiana, to make it worse, got all the lucky bounces right here. Greg Graham keeps it alive. Calvert Chaney tips it in. Now Chaney in the lane, gets bumped, hits the leading jumper. Indiana quickly built a 14-point lead. Now Patrick Tompkins, the big fella for Wisconsin, tries to keep it close. The power jam right here, but Indiana just too much. Pat Graham drives the baseline, hits the shot. Bobby Knight has so many weapons, and Indiana wins it easily by 16 points, 73-57. Damon Bailey, after learning that his sister was diagnosed with leukemia the other day, responds nicely with 21 points for the Hoosiers. LSU and Mississippi State. This has been a tough ball game for LSU. Mississippi State's been the surprise team in the conference. Richard Williams has turned it around. They haven't had a winning season in the SEC in 11 years coming into this year, but I think the rebuilding has arrived. This Tiger coming down from the sky, and this Tiger on the court, as always, Shaquille O'Neal, the key for the Tigers. Shaq inside. Nice move in the power dunk. Then on defense, O'Neal, get it out of here. And the jumper, David DeMega, can't get it over him. But Mississippi State played an excellent ball game with Shaq on the bench in foul trouble. Cameron Burns spins, gets the dunk down, and Mississippi State, they built an 18-point lead in the second half. LSU got within 3 points, but the Bulldogs hang on in a nice victory for Williams' team, 82-79. Both teams are now 6-3 in the SEC. Mississippi and Georgia, 117-62, the biggest margin of victory ever for the Bulldogs in an SEC game. They led this one throughout. Jody Patton had 22. Alabama on the road beating Tennessee. Wade Houston's troubles continue. Ron Horry had 28 points and 13 rebounds. Also in the SEC, Vanderbilt, a road victory in Gainesville, 60-57 over the Gators as Charles Mays popped in 17 points and Scott Droud had 4 3-pointers. Let's check the standings now in the SEC, and as always, we remind you that Kentucky is not eligible to win the SEC title. LSU with the loss drops into a tie with Mississippi State. The Tigers will take on Kentucky, a ball game on ESPN on Tuesday night. Look at the log jam right there. 5 teams within 2 games. And when we come back, we'll go back to the scoreboard. Some more top 25 scores, including Nebraska. In the meantime, check some more scores from Wednesday night college basketball. More scores now. We can update that close game in the Big East. Pittsburgh in the Spectrum taking on Villanova. The Wildcats with a 2-point lead, just 2 minutes and 8 seconds to play. In the Big 8, Nebraska ranked number 11, leading Missouri with 9 minutes to play in the Bob Devaney Center, 57-50. Oklahoma involved in a great game with Iowa State. 10 seconds to go. Iowa State is on the line, and the Cyclones are poised to upset Oklahoma. The Sooners are struggling all of a sudden. East Tennessee State and Memphis State, the 2 teams from Tennessee that rarely play, and right now State with an 82-75 lead with 8 minutes to play. Southern Mississippi against Southwest Louisiana. The Ragin' Cajuns lose it by 6 points. 13-2 now are the Golden Eagles. Virginia Tech beating Louisville 81-76, just 43 seconds to play in that ball game in Freedom Hall. Cincinnati has beaten Xavier of Ohio 69-56 is the final in that Metro ball game, and New Orleans continues to pound Northeastern Illinois 74-43 in the second half. The Privateers looking to go 18-3. When we come back, it's back to the second half in the Thriller Dome. Duke and Georgia Tech with Tim Brando and Dick Vitale.
Who could that be? It's Coach Thompson and my mom with today's word. Today's word is stupid. Ooh, stupid. What's stupid? Not listening to Coach Thompson is stupid. Not listening to your mom.
Place needs to be straightened up. Something's going to have to be done.
Dropping out of school is stupid. Don't be stupid. Stay in school.
Yeah. And another thing.
And always listen to your mom.
Instead of making commercials, you need to develop a hook shot.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball, Duke versus Georgia Tech, is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beer. Remember, know when to say when. And by Acura Automobiles, experience precision-crafted performance.
ACC Big East Wednesday continuing with the Blue Devils of Duke with a 4-point lead over Georgia Tech at halftime. Tim Brando back again with Dick Vitale. And Dick, if you're Bobby Crimmins, you have to feel pretty good that your team is down by only 4, yet offensively they have not clicked in on all cylinders. Kenny Anderson carrying this club right now, and that has to be scary given what we've seen the last few weeks with his Tech team.
Kenny Anderson did an outstanding job, I thought, in shot selection. He has 15 points, 15 good points. They got to get the ball inside a little bit more to Malcolm Mackey. Mackey's got 9, but he's got to get the rock inside a little bit more often. And they got to get John Barry to score a little bit more as well. Their half-court execution offensively has not been highly efficient. I really believe you'll see them execute better in the second half.
Statistically, were it not for free throws and free throw opportunities, Georgia Tech would be in deep trouble from three-point range. Duke is 30%, but they're launching more shots, and they've been more effective, and they've been closer many times. Points off turnovers also a big factor for Duke in the ball game. Georgia Tech has had a tendency to turn it over.
Georgia Tech has really hung the game by getting the ball inside a little bit more, and the driving ability of Kenny Anderson to go to the free throw line. 14 for 16 from the free throw line has really kept them within striking distance.
The Blue Devils more balanced, as you might expect, with McCaffrey, Hill, and Grant Hill with 8 points, and you see Crawford Palmer really the only one with 3 fouls, and he's a complimentary player. Kenny Anderson with 15 carrying this club. Mackey only shooting the ball 3 times from the floor. He'll have to get more shots, as Dick alluded, here in the second half.
Christian Laettner's got to get more shots as well.
Look at that, a shutout in bench scoring.
Well, that's to be expected. Duke goes to the bench a lot more than Georgia Tech does.
Laettner with a jump stop.
Oh, scored a basket, scored a basket.
Definitely in the cylinder, and on the way down, Matt Geiger batting that one away. 4 points now for Laettner.
Anytime you have a direct shot like that across the rim, you usually come up with the goaltending call.
Anderson posts up Hurley and uses his size and his ability to get it up.
That's where he is superb, when he can back you down and take you into the 3-second lane.
And again, some debris on the floor.
Let me clarify why the technical was called, according to Dick Paparo on Bobby Cremins' team. He told me that he warned Bobby Cremins and walked over and nothing was done about throwing the debris on the floor. And then the second time, he just had enough and had to bang him with the technical.
And again, just judging from our perspective, you never know. The coach may not have known what was being said. At the moment that Paparo took the players off of the floor, he was ready to go to the microphone, and I think Bobby became incensed over that. But Paparo had every right to take control as he did. Laettner follows.
That's the easiest basket Laettner will get all night long from the weak side. 70% of the rebounds will come to the weak side. If you shoot from the left, anticipate, expect it on the right, you young people out there.
43-37, a 6-point lead for the Blue Devils.
Both clubs do a great job getting over the top of screens.
Mackey pops it back outside.
Mackey drawing a lot more attention now, so you'll have a lot more inside-outside action.
Anderson too strong.
Poor shot by Kenny right there.
Oh, and he took it right away from Grant Hill.
I love the way he goes between his legs. Look at that. Little showbiz, get the mustard out.
Barry swatted away by Antonio Lang.
Oh, nice spin. Drop the bounce pass now.
To McCaffrey. That's a foul against Brian Hill. Look out, he could get a tee. Scagliotta giving him a long look.
Bobby Hurley made a tremendous 360 spin to get into the 2-on-1 transition. He's got the ball in transition now. He shovels the little bowling pass. That looks like all ball to me.
I see this reaction. Now, this is a judgment call by Frank Scagliotta. He had every right to tee him up, but he decided not to.
Oh, no way should he be called a tee there, because he would have compounded a mistake. He definitely made an error on the call, anticipated the contact. I didn't see contact, did you?
No. But the fact is, when you react that way and you woof and you talk back, you can pick up a technical foul.
Oh, definitely. But a good official like Scagliotta used his intelligence there. Waves it off in the lane too soon. Can't get in the lane until the shooter releases the ball.
44-37, the lead back to 7 for Duke. Just underway second half. Anderson, great dump down to Hill. The foul inside against Laettner.
That's got to be so frustrating to Kenny Anderson. He breaks the defense down, he creates the opportunity, and they can't get the score.
Dick, you made the comment earlier that they're more effective when this man doesn't have to score as often.
We'll see how he drew 2 men to him. He was a 3D man right there. He drove, he drew the defense to him, and then he dished it off.
That third D, though, the delivery didn't occur. And that's the scary thing for Georgia Tech the rest of the way. They've got to get some help offensively for Kenny.
Hill played at the same high school as Tommy Amica, the assistant coach for Duke, who was an outstanding point guard. His definition was point guard. He was a true point guard. He passed the ball, played defense. Amica now an assistant to Mike Krzyzewski.
44-39.
Played at H.T. Woodson High School out in Virginia.
Lang will set up a screen for McCaffrey. A dump down to Hill. Hurley is open. He'll take the three-point try. Mackey clears for Georgia Tech.
Hurley really forcing on his shot, not getting that comfortable follow-through. Look at him right now. Look at the intensity on defense of Hurley. Head-to-head. He says, come on, Anderson, try to beat me. And what, are you kidding? Anderson blew right by him on a change of direction.
Laettner gets a fourth foul. Now that is a major factor the rest of the way. He had 2 at halftime. He now has 2 quickies to open the second half.
Especially when you look at the size factor. They have to bring Palmer in a game now for Laettner, and they really lose a lot of scoring. There's the change of direction. Now goes around the back to change direction. Takes the ball up into the lane, dumps it off.
Kenny Anderson.
Everywhere the ball is, Mr. Anderson is there. And Mr. Laettner has now become an assistant coach.
He's saddled with 4 fouls, and the crowd senses a run. Here comes a run.
Anderson, excellent rebounder for a little guard. Nice look.
Mackey!
What a great look. Anderson to Mackey, and they love it at the Thriller Dome. They say he's awesome. Now they rotate into the zone, the 1-2-2 matchup. Evans does his Tiny Tim routine on the sideline, getting him into the defense.
Grant Hill silences the crowd using the glass.
He had 8 quick points in the first half. He's got to look to shoot a little more, especially with Laettner out of the game.
Anderson forces one. Hurley comes away with it. Bobby.
He's got a trail man.
Hill solo.
Had a trail man. Should have kicked it back to the trailer.
McCaffrey fouled by Malcolm Mackey on the follow.
Not a good decision right there by Hurley.
Such a small margin for error. One of the great items about Mike Krzyzewski, always handling the talent. He has a system, but he always changes that system because of talent year in and year out.
Look at the change of direction between the legs. Loves it. And there's the great look. He makes that pass off the dribble as well as anybody I've ever seen. Magic does that exceptionally well in the NBA.
Early shot off the front iron. Kubek keeps it alive with Palmer. Palmer with a nice move inside against Geiger.
He muscled that baby right up and in. Very physical power move to the goal.
So Duke answers the Georgia Tech run with 4 unanswered points and leads by 5. Geiger far from the hoop with Kubek on him. And he'll take the baseline, Jay.
Nice little sweet jump shot by Geiger. Had a chance to speak to John Barry's mom at halftime. I spoke to Mr. Geiger's mom at halftime. Some proud mothers out here.
Hurley driving the baseline. Throws up a rainbow. And Anderson comes away with it.
Great vision. Anderson always looking up. He says, I'm going for 3 here.
Mackey on the glass, fouled by Crawford Palmer. That's his 4th. So again, that small margin for error for Mike Krzyzewski. Now, Palmer, an inside player, a banger. He has 4. Laettner, he has 4 in the game. Duke will be a small club the rest of the way. Georgia Tech's fans love it. They're down by 3.
It is over in the Spectrum. Here's what happened. Villanova leading by 3 points in the final seconds, and Chris Walker, a chance to ice it, misses the free throw, but watch Jarrell Porter. Tries to get the ball to Jason Matthews, just throws it away. And Villanova holds on 75-72. Oklahoma also losing in Ames 82-79 to the Cyclones. Back to Tim and Dick.
Boy, Oklahoma really struggling, Chris Fowler. Thank you. Duke leading by 3, and Mike Krzyzewski has Palmer on the floor with 4 fouls.
Right now, Georgia Tech has got to take the ball inside to their big people. They got to go to Mackey and Geiger.
Anderson with a steal.
Too quick here. Too quick here. He says, no, Palmer, you can't catch me in this race.
And if he does catch him, he can't challenge. He's playing with 4 fouls.
Kenny Anderson really anticipating stepping in the passing lane.
Thomas Hill.
He answers right back, hanging in the air. Very acrobatic player, good hang time. Right now in their half-court game, they got to go down inside to Mackey, right at Palmer. They can't waste any time. They got to jump right inside.
There they do. They go right inside. Mackey's shot won't fall, and Geiger drops it through.
Mr. Geiger with the jam, and his mom, Kate Geiger, jumps out of her seat. So that's my guy.
50-49, the Blue Devils by 1.
That was a heady play, though, by Georgia Tech, recognizing the situation, going to their big people.
Kubek for 3. Ryan Hill with the outlet to Anderson.
He missed Barry, had Barry.
He'll take it. Too short. Hurley being dogged by Hill.
Excellent defense right here by Hill. He's got to get a hand off him, but he beat him to a spot. DBT, you drive him, you beat him, and you turn him. And when you turn him, you usually get help.
Kubek left free for 3. Again, too strong off the back iron. Anderson comes away with it. Now Barry will get a chance for 3. Mackey on the baseline. Geiger again becoming a force. Yes, and a foul.
That's what they need. Aggressive play out of Matt Geiger. A key player. A guy that can take them to another level. If the 7-footer can contribute in a positive way, like it was anticipated when he transferred here, Georgia Tech now becomes a really good basketball team. There's Mackey with the little jumper. Here comes Geiger. He says, who said I'm not tough? Who says I'm not aggressive? I'm taking that baby right to the goal.
In defense of Matt, many here in Atlanta and at Georgia Tech expected a bit too much too soon from Geiger, and he's been ailed a bit. He had ankle problems, had a bout with bronchitis, missed a couple of games, key games. The one at North Carolina State, certainly he would have been a great help to them in Raleigh at Reynolds, but they did not have him. They've got him tonight, and they also have a 1-point lead.
North Carolina State certainly a different team at home. They're unbeaten at home. Gianni Monroe on the road. It's been a disastrous performance.
Virginia really handled him last night in Charlottesville.
Also got beat by Gary Williams. Ryden's doing one heck of a job with limited personnel in Maryland. Oh, good swing by...
Yep, Brian Hill gets a foul. That's a reach in against Thomas Hill, and that's his 4th.
Oklahoma gets beat tonight by Iowa State and Johnny Orr, but I'll tell you one thing, he's done a heck of a job this year at Oklahoma because he's had limited personnel. I'll tell you the team that really today Jerry Tarkanian was talking about, saying watch out. And he said watch out for Georgetown. They played a long stretch without Alonzo Mourning, giving their young people a chance to grow and play without him. And now that they have him back with Mutombo, he said you don't get any shots inside against him at all. You have to be totally on a perimeter, and I agree with him. I still think their backcourt is too inexperienced though.
Geiger has come out of the game for Tech, and that time they needed him because Davis was all alone in the paint.
Good move by Brian Davis without the basketball. Excellent bounce pass.
52-51. Hill fouled by Davis. In many respects, Hill was very smart. As he went up for the jumper, he leaned back the other way to help draw that personal.
He came out of junior college. He went to Chowan Junior College, the same school that produced Nate McMillan. As we look at the foul trouble here, the 2 big guys with 4 each. Look at Georgia Tech. We have 4 on Hill, 3 on Geiger. Hill went, as I said earlier, to W.T. Woodson High School out of Virginia. Then he went to junior college. He's a good role player, tough, hard-nosed player.
He was also a pretty good running back in high school.
He looks like a running back.
Yeah, got some offers to play football.
You're going to love, absolutely love Travis Best when he plays for Georgia Tech, and James Forrest. Put this down. James Forrest will be a big star on a collegiate level. He's a Larry Johnson kind of body to him.
That's somebody.
Oh, wow. Is he a dominant player? I saw him at the Nike camp.
Ryan DeMalik has come back into the game. We're tied at 52.
They're allowing him to swing the ball side to side. Usually good things happen.
Thomas Hill too strong. Anderson with the long rebound. Again, he'll take Hurley baseline and beat him.
Is he explosive? Is that quickness? You put him in a 24-second clock in the NBA in the open court game. Is he going to be outstanding?
He has 23. It's on the floor, and Thomas Hill gets the deuce.
Thomas Hill with that good body control, kisses it off the glass. Georgia Tech likes to run the ball up the sideline.
Grant Hill knocked that one away originally. Last touch by Bobby Hurley, and the Yellow Jackets will hold on to it with Barry to trigger in the inbounds pass.
Grant Hill's one of those versatile players. He's got great versatility. He can guard people on a perimeter. He can also guard people on a baseline. Now they're asking him to guard the big guy, Mackey.
Kenny's putting on a show now.
It's the Kenny Anderson hour. It's KA time, baby.
He has 25, equaling his mark at Cameron Indoor Stadium 3 weeks ago.
But this is a good 25. The one at Cameron Indoor Stadium was a bad 25.
Look out.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes!
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm going to do a little dance. Oh, that's awesome. He's a 3S man. He's super. He's sensational. He's superb.
Thomas Hill again comes through. Count the hoop.
What a big basket by Thomas Hill. Just when momentum was the way with the Ramblin' Wreck, he comes up in that isolation and scores. He has become such an outstanding offensive player. Now you take a look at this. I mean, Isaiah Thomas is jumping out of his seat right now. 3 changes direction between his legs. Hurley says, what do I got to do? I can't believe this guy. This is impossible. He says, Dad, I know you're a great coach. Please help me out. What can I do to stop him? What a move. Have you ever seen a move like that?
None any better.
I mean, none any better. I can see the Magic Man now jumping up watching, saying, I can't believe it. Oh.
It'd be very difficult for anyone to say there's a part of this game he'd need to develop for the remaining 2 years at Georgia Tech. Domalik finds Barry.
Nice play by Domalik. Excellent bounce pass to the wide open Barry.
Ryan Domalik with a fine dish. Well, those assists, they're catchy when you've got Kenny Anderson on your team.
Duke now strictly a perimeter basketball team with Laettner out of the game. Don't have a lot of scoring on the inside.
Davis forces one up. He took steps.
See, he's not a true post player. Right now, Mike trying to make the most out of a real tough situation.
Mike will lobby with the officials. He needs help inside with Laettner on the pine. ESPN's NFL coverage concludes with the Pro Bowl from Honolulu, Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Speaking of stars, Dick, we saw one a moment ago. Here's Kenny Anderson with a baseline maneuver with a change of direction.
Great change of direction. He takes Hurley to the middle, then he front changes and goes down and makes the... Now take a look at this one right here. One change around the... A little shake, rattle, and roll. A little shake and bake. I mean, that's just like on the streets in New York City. He says, no, Hurley. No way tonight in my living room floor. This is my baby.
You could have been singing back up for Bill Haley in the comments. 60-56, the Tech lead is 4. But again, Krzyzewski making a move with Antonio Lang in the game. He does not have any interior play now with Laettner in foul difficulty.
And you see what he's done right here. First time Mike Krzyzewski has done this to protect his players. He's gone to the zone defensively. He's gone to a 2-3 zone. Duke, as we all know, 95% man-to-man defense. But it shows another side of Mike Krzyzewski, the ability to adjust.
Yeah, there are coaches that run systems, and the systems usually come through, get them a number of wins. But then again, there are coaches that utilize a system but understand they have to make a change. That's why he's one of the premier coaches in the 90s.
I know his mentor right now at home would be going bananas. He said, Mike, you're zoning. There's the block shot by Mackey. They don't have any inside game. Right now, the size of Georgia Tech is such an asset along that baseline. See here, no shot. Look at a great job by Mackey not to leave his feet.
Antonio Lang is a player to watch. Now, he can get started offensively. Highly sought after freshman. In fact, Bobby Crimmins wanted him. Dale Brown thought he had him before he decided to head to Krzyzewskiville.
I sat in Dale Brown's office one day when he had Lang there for a visit.
Grant Hill comes through.
Grant Hill's got to start going to the basket a little bit more and shoot the ball a little bit more often. He's got his touch tonight. They're in that 2-3 zone, just trying to buy time until they can get Laettner on the floor. I think he's trying to keep this close until they get Laettner on the floor with about 6 minutes to go in the game.
In a sense, shorten the game.
Shorten the game. Very good analysis, Mr. Brando. Who's knew that you can do both? I'm going to leave right now.
I just react to you, Dick. Nice move inside by Newbill, and Grant Hill slapped it away.
Newbill's got to attack the glass. He's a physical player. He's got to give him a little bit more offense as well.
Boy, Danny Nee. Boy, what a team he's got. And Memphis State coming from behind now to take this one into overtime against East Tennessee State.
Larry Finch has got that team battling back, and Danny Nee's team's been consistent all year long. Winning on the road in the Big 8 is not easy, and they have done it this year.
That's an over and back. The Blue Devils will have it. Just getting the ball inbounds, so difficult, particularly when you play against a Duke team. And you see Laettner again. He's the first one off the bench to applaud his team defense.
Right now, looking to go inside and bring the ball out. There it is.
McCaffrey.
Excellent maneuver. Bring the ball inside just as a potential threat, and then kick it out to your shooter, and that's what they did to McCaffrey.
Well, Bobby Crimmins saw the adjustment. He's seen his run come to a close. He'll call a timeout and counteract Coach K when we come back.
Basketball game, it's the hour-long Sports Center. Thanks to a great day, Arkansas has a good night. Louis looks for career win number 500. Bill Walsh says the Bucks don't stop here. We'll have the comings and goings of some underclassmen in college football. Sports Center following the game.
Storyline Atlanta, Duke in difficulty. Christian Laettner and Crawford Palmer both with 4 fouls. Georgia Tech with Kenny Anderson lighting it up, and 3 players right now coming up with 47 of their 60 points. Outside of Kenny Anderson, it really has been difficult. Bobby Crimmins, for his team in a practice 2 days ago, went one-on-one with a team trainer. And he said he had some difficulty. He won it, though, 15 baskets to 12. But the team was really giving him some trouble. He's a competitive guy. Don't play tennis against Bobby Crimmins.
I know he's an outstanding tennis player. And he said, Dick, the game was so bad. The first game, I was looking at tapes. You were talking about my tennis game. That's how bad it was.
We're tied at 60.
Duke in that zone defensively. They changed a little look at that zone. Simply playing an area of the floor, trying to match up.
Barry. The iron was kind.
Oh, it was really kind to him that time. John Barry gets the jumper.
4-3, and Barry keeps launching. He has a dozen in the game, and he was really not planning any of his three-pointers in the first half. Anderson comes down with it.
Does he rebound for a little guy? He really has a standard. Well, I've never seen a guy change direction the way he can change direction between his legs and around the back or the front change. He has 3 methods of changing direction with the basketball.
Anderson. Good work defensively by Grant Hill.
2-on-2 right here. Let's see what they get.
Hurley.
Hurley takes it right to the goal, gets the score. They interfere with the ball. Strong drive by Bob Hurley. He was telling me how proud he was of his brother yesterday at 27, playing on a team that's number 2 in the nation. You look at Mr. Intensity now, Mike Krzyzewski, former West Point cadet, former coach at West Point. Laettner back on the floor.
We have a stoppage of play again because debris is on the floor, and Mike Krzyzewski pointing it out. And some perspiration down at the other end of the floor in the paint area. That's why we're having a halt in play.
Bobby Crimmins got an outstanding staff as well. He really has some solid coaches on that staff.
Guys that have been around, like Kevin Cantwell with him at Appalachian State way back in Boone when he made the NCAAs in '79. Sherman Dillard, Jimmy Hebron, and Bruce Dalrymple. Maybe the best rebounding swing guard in college basketball in the decade of the 80s.
Sherman Dillard and also Cantwell do a tremendous job recruiting. Patience right now in offense. Each possession now becomes real big going to the last 7 minutes of the game.
With Laettner back in the game, they still are trying to protect him defensively. Newbill
Gets pushed. He pushes.
He pushed off on Laettner.
Yes, he pushed off. Dick Paparo right there on the baseline. Man-to-man defense now by Georgia Tech.
Laettner with the screen to set up that shot for Grant Hill, and Brian Davis lost it out of bounds, and there'll be an overrule here. Dickie Paparo will overrule that call.
Paparo communicates with Gordon, and they get the right call, and that's the important factor. Get it right. He doesn't like the call.
Mike Krzyzewski doesn't like the overrule. 63-62, Tech by 1, and the game now, the pace of the game changing, becoming more of a half-court grinder the rest of the way.
Well, basically the game changes and becomes more of a slow tempo game because of the presence of the zone defensively. The zone has a way of dictating tempo.
Will look a bit more like the Georgetown St. John's game you saw the first half of Big East ACC Wednesday. Carnesecca always shortens the game. Anderson.
When you can play, you can zone, you can play diamond in 1, triangle in 2. The great ones always respond.
Crimmins exhorting the crowd. He's becoming a cheerleader.
He wants this crowd to carry him down the stretch. They got 3 games in a row at home right now, so this is a big game. Laettner. Get him the ball with those long arms inside. He's got that feathery touch.
He has 10 in the game. 8 of those points in the second half, and he spent much of this half on the bench. Barry.
Can't score from that wing. He's getting wide open shots.
Mackey was losing his balance. He had to throw it up. And Anderson with the steal.
Tremendous steal right there, right in the passing lane. Read that pass all the way. Nice dish.
To Hill.
Oh, what a difference a year makes. He kicks it out last year, and Dennis Scott's got 3.
Again, an official's timeout because more perspiration on the floor. Every time a player hits the deck, and many of them have, we'll have to have the ball boys come out and wipe up the court a bit. Don't forget, more action coming up tomorrow night. A great game in the Big Ten. The Buckeyes taking on the Spartans. North Carolina to beat Clemson. The Tigers of Flip Ellis really struggling this year. The defending ACC regular season champion. And Wyoming meeting Hawaii. That's after Sports Center.
Reggie Slater, you want to see that wide body. He can really play at Wyoming.
Grant Hill over Geiger, followed by Davis.
Nice play by Brian Davis. Excellent hands to convert that tip.
That play reminded one of Robert Brickey, didn't it? An acrobatic follow.
Brickey was a tremendous jumper. To staying in that 2-3 zone.
Geiger looking for the foul from Laettner, but he got it from Davis on the backside.
If he didn't get in foul trouble today, I really believe Geiger would have a big game.
Now remember, he got 3 very quickly and was forced to sit down. And again, the Duke bench, which has been helpful, will have to come through with a great deal more the rest of the way.
Best way to describe the Duke program is simple: class.
The barometer by which all academic institutions should be gauged at the student-athlete level.
Well, the other great thing about the Duke situation, they have their priorities in order in that the basketball facility belongs to the students. They get the choice seats down on the floor, and it's just bedlam. I really believe, I've said it time and time again, and you have to be there to feel it, Tim. It's the best environment in terms of pregame and everything else in America.
One of the real reasons that Bobby Crimmins has gotten this game and other games back in the Thriller Dome was to create a similar environment.
They got an excellent environment here. They're really loud.
Geiger picks up the foul as Grant Hill challenged him inside, and Matt Geiger picks up his 4th.
He shows his multi-dimensional ability. They go to an isolation. They put the rock in the hands of the freshman. They show a lot of confidence and faith. They say, come on, Grant, go one-on-one and take him to the goal, and he does, and he comes up to the free throw line.
It has been said of Grant Hill, and I think I agree from seeing him tonight, that this is a young man in a man's body. This is not, I mean, he's a very young guy and has plenty of time to develop, Dick, but at 6'7" and 205, he's pretty thick right now.
Howard Garfinkel, a 5-star camp, was the first to really tell me all about him in terms of his skills and his ability. And he just told me, he said the kid is multi-dimensional, and he's without a doubt one of the 5 best high school players in the nation. And then when I had him in a McDonald's game, I could just see that those statements were valid.
Barry.
Yes, Barry delivers. He delivers a big one. I'll tell you one thing, he's not afraid to keep shooting the rock.
And it was all set up because Kenny Anderson broke the press and broke it easily.
I like the way Barry plays the game, though, in terms of his intensity.
McCaffrey.
If he gets wide open, you can count it. Changes speeds really make Anderson so special. The control of the basketball. He's got a great rhythm dribble.
The ball becomes part of the anatomy.
See, great head fake. Such confidence. So cocky with the ball. He's Muhammad Ali when he's got the ball in his hands. He says, I'm the champ.
Hill active again defensively, knocking it away from Malcolm Mackey. 17 seconds on the shot clock for Georgia Tech. When we come back, Mike Krzyzewski's club remains tied, even with his big people in foul trouble. 10,113 jam-packed in Alexander Memorial Coliseum. They have been entertained by Kenny Anderson and company. 70-70, but Mike Krzyzewski doing all he can to eliminate Anderson's one-on-one capability.
The students during this era really at Georgia Tech have been treated, as we look at the reset here.
And again, the
3
team,
times outs, 2 for Tech.
The possession arrow with Georgia Tech the rest of the way.
Both will be going into the one-on-one on the next foul. But, you know, they've been treated to a great football year, tremendous basketball. Really makes the spot special for the college student.
Hill off the pick. Geiger trying to keep it alive.
He has really become much more active, hasn't he, Tim?
Yeah, he really has. And he can play away from the basket. Not that far away, but away. And the turnover, the end result. Boy, Hill with a great job
of hustling.
Davis gets Mackey airborne, and it doesn't go. He does draw the foul.
You got to credit that to Hill. Brian Hill did a superb job of taking away an easy layup, and now Duke has to go to the free throw line to convert. What a great job of hustle. I mean, this is pure hustle. Look at the desire right here, number 11. And now McCaffrey's got to make the great pass. Mackey rotates back. They're lucky they got in a situation to go even to the free throw line.
I realize that I don't have to be a public relations specialist when it comes to basketball, trying to convince you how special this game is. But isn't it amazing that these two teams could play 21 days ago and the spread be 41, and yet here we are 3 weeks later, locked in a 70-70 tie.
Could have been 50 if Mike Krzyzewski didn't sub and was inclined to his buddy Bobby Cremins. They have great respect for one another, and that's the other beauty in the league. Coaches really respect each other.
But in what other sport? In what other sport can we see this?
Great job by Hill defensively, and they come up empty, Duke. See, back in the zone negates a lot of the driving ability of Kenny Anderson.
Geiger doesn't get the roll. Mackey follows.
That was a tremendous offensive rebound by Mackey. The big horse, the wide body, 6'11", about 265.
He's quietly up to 15 in the scoring column. Laettner drives. That's a block against Geiger. That's his 5th.
Could be the 5th. He's gone.
Nice challenge by Laettner, because remember, he too playing with 4 fouls.
Look at East Tennessee State. They got the best little man in all of college basketball, Keith Jennings. He's Mr. Jennings. There's a one-on-one. See, he splits the seam. Anderson should have stepped over just a little quicker.
$10 points, but you really can't measure his play tonight just with that stat alone. I mean, he really was a factor on both ends.
The last 3 games, he's averaged 12 points a game, but better than that, 10 rebounds a game. He's not a Windex man yet. I mean, he's not wiping the glass yet, but he's become much better.
Christian Laettner at the line.
I think Christian Laettner's going to have a great chance to make Gene Katie's Pan American team. I know he wants Shaquille O'Neal. You got to tell your buddy Dale Brown to make sure Shaquille O'Neal helps Gene Katie out with that Pan American Games team. I'm going to pick your team for you, Gene.
No reason to tell Dale. You got to tell Shaq. I think he's a little more imposing a figure.
He will not get the seniors. The agents won't let those guys play. That'll be drafted in the NBA, so he's got to get the great underclassmen.
72-72, 2:36 and counting.
Hurley playing head-to-head on Anderson. Now they're back in the man-to-man defensively.
Davis slapped it away.
Not the options you really want to have the ball there in that situation. You got 2:29 on the clock in a tie game. Every possession becomes big, and you have Hill and Newbill handling the ball in a two-man situation. Got to know your options, know your strength. That's one of the things that Mike Krzyzewski's mentor really does well. When you look at Indiana, down the stretch, Calvert Chaney and Eric Anderson will shoot the ball.
Brian Davis picked up his fourth. He sits down. McCaffrey comes back in. That gives another shooter to Duke on the offensive end as Ivano Newbill toes the line. Boy, free throws, you got to have them at this juncture.
They've been shooting 71% as a team in the ACC, shooting only 68% for the year. Laettner wants the ball down in the box. He drop steps real well, uses the single reverse pivot. They got the angle to Laettner. Nice pass.
There he is.
Great option. They don't come up with the score, but a great option. You go to your best perimeter shooter.
Georgia Tech gets it back, and very quickly, Brian Davis checks back in to play defense for Coach K.
We got a good one right here, Tim. Going down, looks for the last shot.
And this is a great ACC game, matching wits between two coaches, adjusting to problems that both teams have endured.
Excellent job of adjusting. That's part of coaching, especially down the stretch. Here it is, man-to-man. Make sure he's stationary on that screen. Can't lay that illegal screen.
Laettner clears for Duke.
Duke right now, basically's got to think about, number one, getting the ball to Laettner inside.
We're tied at 72. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining with 1:41 left in the ACC.
You got those stats?
This game is very meaningful in the ACC regular season standings. The winner of this game clearly becomes number 1, but again, a lot yet to be played as we reach the halfway mark in the ACC. The job Virginia is doing with their most recent loss, and Jeff Jones, tremendous job for him, and they are a lethal team, particularly in Charlottesville.
Jeff Jones and also Randy Ayers were 2 guys that really weren't the first choices of their athletic directors, proven again sometimes that you have great talent right in front of you. The win by Georgia Tech over North Carolina in Chapel Hill really has tightened things in a regular season, because there was really a threat that North Carolina might get away from everyone. I still think when it's all said and done down the stretch, Carolina will be up there as number 1. But again, remember, I said it, not
right.
you.
But again, remember, the seeding for the ACC tournament is what's important, because in this league, unlike all of the others, it's the ACC tournament champion that hangs a banner in their gym as the ACC champion. And of course, the ACC tournament part of ESPN's championship week in the month of March.
Duke spreading the court, going to their high percentage offense. 2 guys high post, setting some screens.
Hurley isolated, draws a foul from Kenny Anderson.
And that was created off the 2 high screens that they have. Laettner on one side. It's like a 1-4 offensive set. It's the initial step. He's got a smile on his face. I'd smile too if I had his ability.
And you see again Davis coming in, McCaffrey checking out. Offensive, defensive substitutions by Krzyzewski the rest of the way. We mentioned the staff of Georgia Tech. Pete Gaudette has meant so much to Mike Krzyzewski, along with Tommy Amaker, and probably the nicest looking assistant coach, Jay Billis.
Jay Billis looks like he belongs in the movies as we're looking right there at Kubek and McCaffrey. You mentioned Pete Gaudette. He coached for 7 months in Kuwait. Also, Peter Gaudette hired, ready for this, Randy Ayers was a member of his staff at West Point. Here's where Anderson, now it's usually Anderson time. He loves this. Pressure players like Isaiah Thomas, Anderson love it when the game is on the line. Now Hurley's going to try to deny him the ball, keep the ball away from him. He's going to try to deny it, but he can't. They're going to isolate.
Sort of a 1-4 set this time, and Anderson will find a seam.
Made a good look, but Newbell doesn't deliver it.
But he does.
So he gives it right back to Anderson, and Anderson says, hey, it's my time. It's Anderson time.
The lead is won with under 1 to play. Timeout, Blue Devils.
And remember now, with the situation and the time, Georgia Tech will get the ball back no matter if Duke utilizes the entire clock.
The crowd anticipates a frenetic finish, and why not? 74-73 with 53 seconds remaining. This would be, you mentioned the win by Georgia Tech over North Carolina and how that helped the ACC with respect to everyone now being back in the picture. A lot would be lost for that North Carolina win on the road should Georgia Tech lose this game to Duke. I mean, the momentum that they have built could really be stopped a bit mid-season in the ACC if they don't get a win at home against Duke. And let's face it, these guys want to win desperately to pay back Duke for that 41-point loss.
I agree with you from this factor as well. Winning at home, especially with a 3-game home trip coming up right now, 3 in 5 days playing Maryland and North Carolina State, they have a chance really to put themselves in great shape. And this game becomes very important. It's the pride factor. You get beat by 41. You want no moral victory. You don't want to go in the locker room and say, well, we played them close, because that doesn't get you anywhere when you look at your W's and L's at the end of the year. So it is a big game, and it's a big game right now for Georgia Tech, I think more than Duke, because it's on the Georgia Tech floor.
Immediately following our game, we'll be joining Dan Patrick and Bob Lee with SportsCenter. The lead in the ACC at stake. Those are the headlines from there. They'll have headlines around Atlanta as well on SportsCenter. Primetime, Deion Sanders now signing a contract, a AAA contract with the Atlanta Braves organization, and of course Deion playing for the Falcons in the NFL.
Right now, talk a little bit about strategy. You're going to see Duke go to a situation. They're going to a double stack down low. I think they got to go to Laettner as their guy eventually, using some clock and get the ball to Laettner.
Anderson knocks it away from Hill. The arrow to Georgia Tech.
They were going to Grant Hill in the 3-second area.
Possession of the basketball so important with the shot clock off. Kenny Anderson with a steal, and he can play keep away the rest of the way.
Kenny Anderson has done it all tonight. He has rebounded. He's been a cheerleader. He's been a scorer.
Who said great offensive players can't play defense? He showed you right there what he can do on the defensive end as well. Kenny, you are special.
He anticipates exceptionally well defensively. He doesn't play what I call solid individual team defense, but he plays tremendous defense off the ball. Always anticipated. Larry Bird does a great job off the ball defensively.
His 8 steals tonight represent yet another record for Kenny Anderson. That's a career record at Georgia Tech.
Talk about steals. What about Eric Murdoch? You talk about a guard that has really raised his stock. Murdoch's on another level. We want to say congratulations to Eric for breaking the NCAA record last night for most steals in a career.
Oh, he is your Windex Player of the Week as well. So right after he gets some publicity, he comes through and breaks another record in Providence.
Right now, some strategy, Tim, as we look at the situation. We have 41 seconds on the clock. We have right now, the ball is in the hands of Georgia Tech. Do they take it to the last second? I feel they will take the ball down and shoot the ball with about 5 or 6 ticks on the clock, so they have the opportunity for the offensive rebound if they were to miss. And with a guy like Mackey working the glass, they have that chance.
Georgia Tech with a 1-point lead. Duke will have to come up with the ball. 41 seconds remaining.
Right now, the guy that'll have the ball most likely will be Anderson. But remember this, in the game against North Carolina on the big play, with the defenses concentrating so much on Anderson, Mackey was the guy that delivered the big 3-point play inside.
Remember, it's so important just to trigger the inbounds pass. Duke can deny the ball very well. They almost did exactly that. Bobby Hurley picked up the foul.
They called the foul on Hurley, but not a good look by John Barry on that baseline, throwing the ball right under the basket of Duke. Also, not a good job by Georgia Tech in utilizing the screen to help to get somebody free. See, they're too stationary. And right now, he's staring. He anticipated. He reached over the back. Hurley can't believe it. Says, no, no, no. they telegraphed that pass. There was no screen. See, no screen to get Anderson free. He's isolating he's all over. He's mugging him. I mean, he's giving him a New York Times mugging right there. Don't cry on that. Come on, Bobby, stop crying.
It is 1-1 in the bonus right now for Georgia Tech.
Maybe
Not
that was
two.
a Jersey City mugging instead of a New York Times mugging. All right, right now he's going to go to the free throw line. The one positive here for Mike Krzyzewski, even if he scores, they get the chance with the ball. He smiles.
Well, he used all of the iron there.
He loves this. He absolutely loves it. Mike doesn't love it seeing him at the free throw line. You know, Mike coached him during the World Championship games and said, what a great kid to coach.
In the Goodwill games, silver and a bronze for those two teams.
Pretty good night right there. Oh, now see, here's where Duke can take it to the last shot. The last shot either win or it goes to OT. Don't give Georgia Tech a chance to get the ball.
And the Duke motion produces a nice shot for Hill, rejected by Newbill. The follow is good and a foul.
What a play by Thomas Hill. Personally, I thought they shot the ball a little too soon. Tim, I don't know your feelings, but I think in a tie ball game, it was a high percentage shot, but he misses. Georgia Tech has a chance to win the game. Here goes Hill inside. He takes it up at Newbill. Newbill rejects it, but Hill says, no, I'm going back up the second time. Mackey comes over and he can't get it, and Hill gets the score. I'm kind of surprised they shot the ball that soon.
It does give Georgia Tech another chance with plenty of time. 27 seconds left on the clock, and Thomas Hill 5 of 6 at the stripe tonight. Kubek on the deck. What a big rebound by Greg Kubek.
Great rebound. I lost count of that score for a minute, Timmy. It was my error. They were not tied at that situation. Now we got a tie. Now he's got to take it down to the overtime.
But you were not incorrect in your analogy that they could have used more of the clock, but they have the ball right back.
But they had to go for that high shot. See, now they got a chance to win it right here. Great play. Great execution. Great play.
The Blue Devils come away with it.
Great play. Taking it right down to the final shot. Excellent play. Tremendous entry to the box.
Remember the play by Kubek off the missed shot. What an excellent rebound that was, and boy, did it pay dividends.
My one eye must have really messed me up, Timmy, on that score. Now I understand why they went for that quick score to tie the game. But right here, great coaching by Krzyzewski and execution by his players to use the full shot clock. They're taking it right down to the last second where they either win it or it goes to OT. Great play right here, and what a finalizer, what a delivery by Hill, who has become a star.
Thomas Hill, a sophomore of influence out of Lancaster, Texas. He is a happy guy, and the Blue Devils steal one, Dick.
What a great finish. Tremendous job by Mike Krzyzewski down the stretch, getting this big win on the road.
For Dick Vitale, Tim Brando saying so long. Sports Center is next.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball, Duke versus Georgia Tech, has been brought to you by Today's Chevrolet, who invites you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. By Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products. By Nike, who reminds you to just do it. And by Mr. Goodwrench and your participating GM dealers, keeping quality on the road.